Okay, so hi everybody. Today we have a lot of special guests from Rader Family Farms with us, and they're going to be hosting our Sunflower Power Workshop today. I'm super excited to have them with us. My name is Maggie Roberts, and I am the STEAM in the Classroom Program Coordinator with University of Illinois Extension and 4-H. I'm based out of McLean County here. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So guys, if you have any questions at all, our friends are going to be pausing and asking you if you have questions, but it's okay to just unmute yourself too if you have a question or just a comment you want to chime in with. And you're also welcome to use the chat box. I'll be looking at that throughout the session and making sure that we get all of your good comments and questions throughout the day with us here. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then I'm going to let all of our friends at Rader Farms introduce themselves.
It's not. Okay.
Good morning, friends. Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to Rader Family Farms. You guys have dialed in today to go virtual to learn all about sunflowers. These are an amazing, amazing flower. Have you ever seen one? They're not little. They can grow to be 12 feet tall. That's what most of them are here on the farm. Our largest one, not here on the farm, the largest sunflower has grown to be over 30 feet tall. That's taller than some of the houses. But we're going to take a few minutes to look up close at a sunflower. And then in a little bit, we're going to go look at some of the sunflowers that we've grown. You'll hear about a story. We'll do a craft, and then you'll see some things that you will be amazed come from sunflowers. So first, I'm going to take you in close because I want to show you some really amazing things about a sunflower. First, I'm going to show you a few words too. This is the head of a sunflower. In this, we are going to call the ray, and this we are going to call the face or the disc of a sunflower. But I'm going to take you in even closer. And I'm going to show you when we take a sunflower face apart, there's some amazing things in here. So this face or this disc is made up of not just one, but thousands of sunflowers. And I cut one apart just for you guys so you could look inside and look at this. All of these little friends here are all called florets, and they are amazing. They're all little individual flowers themselves. Can you see that? Yeah. I'm going to show you one on a dry one that looks a little bit better. And these are the head of your sunflower. And if we look even closer, if we go down deep, now my hands are getting sticky, friends. You see where the seeds come from when they dry out. Can you see? So here's a black seed that I'm getting out of the face and the disc of the sunflower. Did you know that's where those come from? It's amazing. But let's go over it just a second. So I showed you the face or the disc of the sunflower, and these are so many, many thousands of different little flowers. And then these are called rays. And this is the fun part, the pretty part that everybody thinks of when they think of a sunflower, is the big yellow part. And these are truly each an individual flower. To get even more specific, and I'll show you when we go over to our plants, these are called bracts. That's a long word, but that's the start. You'll know that a sunflower is developing because that's what develops the bud head and helps attract our friends, the pollinators, to come. But if it's one thing about a sunflower that you might not know, is that it is, this is a big word, heliotropism. Now, why would I teach you that word? Because that means when sunflowers first grow, they follow, some of them follow the sun. And when the sun comes up, they face east. And then as the sun moves across the sky, the sunflower really will turn and it will end up at night facing west, and it'll come back around again the next day. long word I just taught you, but it's called heliotropism. Amazing. These are such neat flowers. Then, if we want to start with a sunflower, they start as seeds. Have you seen these seeds before? These look like the ones you eat, but inside is the nut. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But these are the seeds. This is what our farmer planted to get some of these amazing flowers. So far, you have learned that we have a face and a disc and a floret, and it grows on a very long stem. But I have to tell you, these are amazing sunflowers. Aren't they beautiful? So we're going to continue to talk about these. Oh, look, it's Patch. Patch decided to come in because he has a special sunflower patch he wants to show us. So if you'll take a minute, we're going to go look at these sunflowers. Now, I don't know how many of you were here last night in Central Illinois, because I know some of you are not living here, but Patch has said we had a big storm. And see what happened? We lost some of our patch of sunflowers. There's a good thing, and I'll show you why in just a second. But Patch is still proud of those sunflowers we have. Patch, thank you so much for letting us visit your farm. We'll see you later. So I started to tell you that we have an amazing long stalk, but to get there first, we have to plant it. And the seeds don't go very deep. They only have to go about an inch deep into the dirt. And that's where, and then you have to be careful, because can you guess what eats sunflower seeds once they're first planted? Birds, and lots of them. So farmers have to be very careful right after they've planted. But after the seed is planted, we need water. Not a lot, because sunflowers do not like to stand in puddles. But we do need some water to start the word, and it's germinate, to start the seed or the sprout to grow. So we have the rain and we have the germination, but then what really makes it amazing is it starts to grow a root. And sunflowers need not just little roots, sunflowers need big roots. And this is what grew from just that tiny seed I showed you. So this is an amazing part of what happened from the storm last night, is we were able to harvest one of these broken sunflowers for you to see. So all of this part from here and below was below the ground, and it has two different types of roots. It has this big taproot here. That's what's so strong and thick, and if you can see, it's almost as thick as the stem. And that's what helps hold the plant into the ground. And then it has these other roots, and those are the roots that help take the water up the stem. And so I'm going to go back for a second. So after the seed grows, then the roots start to grow, and we get that little sprout, and then this stem starts to grow, and it has to grow big. What helps this stem grow big? I'm going to show you. To help that stem grow so big, it needs sun. And sunflowers, just like the name, need a lot of sun. And they get a lot of sun from these beautiful, people say they're heart-shaped leaves. And the sun helps, another long word, if you're following along, photosynthesis. You don't have to remember it. Photosynthesis. The sun shines on the leaves, and the leaves help our sunflower grow and grow and grow. Now, this sunflower in particular is a vine, so you'll see that it has many shoots. Most sunflowers, and the one that we're going to make in our craft, is a stem sunflower, where it has one stem and one big flower. But this is my vine sunflower. So we're growing this vine sunflower. He's got his big stem and his big leaves. And this, my friends, is what I showed you with the bract. And it's the green part of the flower and that we know if we leave it, if it stays healthy, is going to grow into this. Once this part starts to develop, we have the pollination where we have butterflies and bees, and they grow and they come and they crawl onto this, and that's what helps it bloom. Remember, we called this the disc or the face of the sunflower, and we called this the ray. So if we're starting, because we're going to do this in our craft from bottom to top, we had the soil, and then we had the seed, we had the roots that grew, and we're going to, for our craft, we're going to skip the sprouts part, and we go straight to the stem, and then we go up the stem to the leaves, and then finally to the disc and the florets, or the ray. Friends, just look over here too. This will show you we had so many strong winds that guess what? These sunflowers didn't just pull out of the ground, they broke. These sunflowers are very, very strong. So we'll take just a second and we're gonna walk back because I have a story I'm gonna show you. Isn't that amazing how thick those roots were? So we're gonna come right over here. Perfect. And I have a special story that Patch left me. It's called Sunflower House. And it'll take just a few minutes, but we're going to read it about a young boy who planted the sunflower seeds. Sunflower House by Eve Bunting. And I want you to take special notice. I'll try and point out some amazing things in this book. And it starts out, first I pull out all the weeds. Then I sow my sunflower seeds. It says to set them in a line, but Dad says round and round is fine. And if you think about it, what are they building? Well, instead of growing it in a line, why they're growing it in a circle. I give them water every day and shoo those pesky birds away. Go eat the berries on the tree. These sunflower seeds belong to me. And if you can see this picture, remember we talked about that here's the dirt, the seed, the deep taproot and the other roots, and there's the sprout that's just starting. The package says they're guaranteed a mammoth flower grows from each seed. My friend Bernice says there's no way. You don't know everything I say. Wait. And again, it's growing deeper, and it even has deeper roots than it is tall at this point, if you can see that. It needs to grow deep roots first before it can grow up. The stem pokes up all ringed around, a pale green circle in the ground. They're growing tall, they're growing fast. And oh my gosh, sunflowers at last. And these, in this picture, you'll see are the ones I call the single stem. So each flower is coming from a single stem. All frilly yellow, big and bright. Mammoth is the word, all right. And if you don't know the word mammoth, that means huge. That means gigantic. The petals open wide and spread, a golden roof above my head. My friends come rushing down to see the sunflower house, hand grown by me. There's lots of room inside for three. Mom brings us cookies and iced tea, but Mom and Dad can't fit at all. They're much too big and wide and tall, and you can see that the sunflower house is starting to grow. All summer long, the house is ours. We play in it for hours and hours. It's a castle, it's a cage. We're jungle beasts that roar and rage. My friends sleep out with me one night, bundled up and snuggled tight. Moon shadows shiver on the ground, the sunflowers whisper all around. They whisper songs of heat and rain and things too secret to explain. I see the stars play peekaboo and wish a wish that can't come true. What do you think he's wishing? I have no idea. One day the leaves are tinged with brown. A flower comes tumbling, rumbling down. Next day, some more bent over fall, and now it's not a house at all. And that's something I didn't start to talk about, is at the end of a life cycle, after that beautiful flower grows so tall, this last one is called wilt, where the sunflower starts to bow its head and it starts to, let's watch this. I don't know if you can see it in the picture where the flowers are bent over. We tie it up with strings and sticks, but it's impossible to fix. It's gone, there's nothing we can do, not even with glue all glue. So they are trying so hard to get those sunflowers to stand up, but once they've started to wilt and the fall comes, they do not stand back up. And then there's a single word, wait, because he just discovered something. There's still the puffy middle part that's filled with seeds enough to start another sunflower house next spring with walls, a roof, and everything. It's neat to think when something's gone, a part of it goes on and on. It's such a super duper plan. We pick out all the seeds we can, and you can see that's exactly where the seeds come. I'll show you again in just a second. Our pockets bulge, the blue jays come, the sparrows, crows, they all take some. So not only will the birds eat them out of the ground, they eat them in the fall, all the seeds that come out. We still have lots and lots to share. Now be aware, prepare, take care, and watch for those seeds, because next summer they'll be everywhere. And the children have left the seeds, or the birds have left the seeds. So if we stay right there for just a second, you will see again that once, this was one of my sunflowers from earlier that you can see it's all dried out compared to this pretty one. And if we're careful and we dig right in, we can see some of those black seeds that have started to begin. I don't know if you can see all those. Oh, there's two more that popped out. So they will come, they're easier to come out when they are all dry. And that would be from the sunflower face or the head. Isn't that beautiful? No, I'm going to give you just a second, friends, to get your craft ready. If you have your glue and your paper, I'm going to walk over to my next table and we will start that in just a second. All right, friends, are we ready? We are going to build a sunflower. Now it's your sunflower and you can build it as fast or as slow as you want. And I had to make sure that mine was all ready to go, because guess what? We had lots of wind, and we still do out here on the farm. Our first thing we're going to do to plant our sunflower is we need soil. So you can take your soil, which is the brown, it almost looks like a semicircle or an oval, and you're going to put that and plant that at the bottom of your paper, and that is your soil. And if you remember what is next, I don't know how well your glue will work, but the next part is your seed. And your seed goes right in the ground, but not too deep, because if sunflowers grow too deep, they can't sprout. So you can put it just right underneath the soil. And who remembers what comes next? The root. And it has to be a long one. The one that if you made it or you got it in the mail or you picked it up, this root is not very deep. But this, remember, we have the taproot that goes long, and we have the other roots that help drink the water. And the root system is very, very good for a sunflower. And the next part isn't something that grows up, because we need something that comes down from the air. And we are going to plant, or we can't grow our sunflower without help from Mother Nature. So we are going to put some water into the ground. I'm going to put mine up in the air like it's falling. And we had lots of this yesterday if you were here in Central Illinois. and the water comes down to the ground. And again, sunflowers do not like lots of rain. They don't stand in puddles well. And you know why? It weakens everything that's growing down below. Our next spot is sun. And we are going to glue the sun. And you can glue it anywhere you'd like. I'm going to glue it right up top. And that's the sun. Sunflowers, because of their name, love lots of sun. Our next step is the stem. And remember, I said there are two different types of sunflowers. There's a single stem, and then there's a vine one. There's lots of different types of sunflowers. This one we are doing as a stem sunflower, the single one. It's only going to have one flower at the top, and that is our stem. Our next stop is the leaves, because the leaves are what help the rest of the plant grow, and it helps the stem grow taller and taller. So you can take it, if I'm going too fast, you can just be following along and watching, or if you might be ahead of me, and that's fine too, because your sunflower might grow a lot faster than mine. And there we go. And sunflowers can have lots of leaves. A vine sunflower had over 20 heads, I was reading. The vine sunflowers can have over 20 flowers on a vine. After the leaves grow, then all the way up at the top, remember I am calling it the face. Some people call it the disc, and it is at the top. And the very best part of a sunflower, some people might disagree, is the yellow ray flowers. And I am going to I'm going to be quiet for just a second as you guys take your time and put your sunflowers together. And remember, now I don't know, I have not counted on a sunflower, but it looks like they have many, many rays. And this is what helps. Now these will not, even though these are each an individual flower, these do not create the seeds. It's the face right in here is where the seeds will develop. And you remember who helps develop those seeds? Seeds cannot develop until they have been visited by bees or butterflies. And do you know that butterflies love to lay their eggs in sunflower heads? And that, there you go. So if you ever see caterpillars growing around the sunflowers, you know it's been visited by one of our friends, the butterflies. I hope you are done, because I am almost done. And just to review, if you are going faster than me, if you don't have your words cut out, that's all right. You can always do that later, or you can leave them all together. But I am going to go through the story real quick with my words. You may follow along, or you can just listen. Our story started with the soil, and it doesn't have to be perfect soil, because really the soil is not as important as what the sunflowers love best, and that's the sun. You have to plant, sunflowers do not like any shade. After the soil, we planted the seed, and the seed was the one, and it took root, and it grows all those deep roots. Almost done, friends, and then I have some amazing things to show you about sunflowers. As it starts to poke out of the ground, remember that's when we said it was a sprout. We skipped that part to bring you this amazing stem. And these stems are thick. Guess what? When I was reading and learning about sunflowers for you, I learned that people actually eat the stem of a sunflower. I wouldn't do that. I've been told it tastes like celery. Now, I sort of skipped ahead of myself with the stem, because we forgot that there needs to be water, and there needs to be sun to help that stem grow. And I must be missing my leaves. But we have the leaves if you have it. And then we do the base right there, right in the middle is where I'm putting mine. You can put it to the side. And the rays. Isn't that incredible? That is your sunflower that you've grown from bottom to top. Now, I promised you that you would learn. Maybe this isn't something new that you've learned, but I can almost guarantee you I'm going to show you some new things. So, guess what comes from a sunflower? Did you know that potato chips, they're made from potatoes, aren't they? They are. Lay's potato chips, if you look at their ingredients, they say sunflower oil. This company chose to cook with almost all sunflower oil because it is so healthy. So almost all your Lay's potato chips that you get, even if it's something else made by Lay's, check the back and check in the ingredients and it'll say sunflower is one of your first ingredients. And I haven't shown you this. I think I showed you this at the beginning. These are our sunflowers. Those were the seeds. I don't know how many of you can eat those. You might see them, and you can't eat them. They don't taste very good if you eat them that way. But certainly if you eat them this way, if you've had them in a salad or a snack or a trail mix, these are called the fruit of the sunflower because a sunflower is not a nut. It is a fruit from the seed, from the flower. Isn't that amazing? Not just potato chips come from sunflowers. Guess what? Some popcorns do too. And again, you just have to look in the back. Sunflower oil. Did you know this? There is so much that comes from a sunflower.
Can I ask a question?
I'm sure some of you already know this, especially if you can't have peanuts.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you're talking about sunflower oil, but we're only seeing the sunflower seeds. How do you get the oil?
How do you get the oil from the sunflower seeds?
They do. There's a special press. I don't think you'd be able to try it at home. You might be able to take this and crush them up and it might get a little oily, but they go through a special process so you can cook with sunflower oil. And there's lots of history in sunflower oil, but it gets crushed into a press. I hope that answers as much as you can, but sunflower oil, even better. If you're allergic to peanuts, do you know that they have sunflower butter? And guess what? The first ingredient, roasted sunflower seeds, sunflower butter. I found this just at the regular grocery store, so keep your eyes open the next time you're grocery shopping. That's something else that comes from sunflowers. Now, do you know why I would have a cow and a horse here on my table of something that comes, and they don't come from sunflowers, but they both can eat sunflowers. Just like sunflowers for you would be high in protein, sunflowers are very, very high in protein, and especially important for young horses and cows. And they can, sometimes they are fed that in their grain and meal to help them grow stronger because they're high in protein. My last one, which I know is going to surprise all of you, a life jacket. Now, seriously, would a life jacket come from a sunflower? It doesn't now in the year 2020, but years and years ago, they found that sunflower stalks, those big stalks I showed you, they float very easily, and people would take them and sew them into their into clothes or vests that they would go swimming with, and they would use sunflower stalks in their life jackets. I don't think your moms would know about this, and I don't even think your grandmas or grandpas would know about this. But history tells me that, and I will guarantee you I will not try it myself, but they tell me that sunflower stalks were used in life jackets. So I've given you a lot of information. You've probably sat still for a very long time, so thank you so much. Are there any other questions that I can answer for you about sunflowers?
Yeah, we had a question. One of our kids' teachers gave us some sunflower seeds to plant. When is the best time to plant them?
When is the best time to plant sunflower seeds?
Very good question. So in Illinois, the best time to plant, and it also depends on when you want them to bloom. You definitely have to wait till after frost, and you don't want them to bloom late in the fall. You want them to bloom in about August, and they take about 90 days, so about 3 months to germinate. Remember, and that's the big word I used, to sprout. So you would plant them in May or June, depending on when you want them to bloom. And they will not grow good in a, you can start them in a cup, but really they need to be planted outside. Any other questions?
Yes, so we're talking about when to bloom them, but what about where we can plant them? Does Illinois produce all of the sunflowers?
The question is, where do you plant them? Is Illinois?
Excellent question. So some of the biggest states that grow sunflowers, the sunflower state is actually Kansas. Kansas grows the most sunflowers. The North Dakota and South Dakota also grow sunflowers. In those states, farmers grow them like a crop, like a major crop, and they will plant acres and acres, and that's mostly where we get the sunflowers to produce the sunflower oil and the sunflower seeds. So more out west is where the biggest states are that grow sunflowers.
You talked about horses and cows.
Okay.
You talked about horses and cows eating sunflowers. So this is a two-part question. What part of the sunflower do they eat? Do they only eat the seeds, or do they eat the whole thing? And then also, what about like my dog? Could my dog eat sunflowers?
Okay, there is a question.
Yep.
It's a two-parter.
Excellent.
The first part is, what part of the sunflowers do horses and cows eat? And the second one is, can dogs eat sunflowers?
Excellent. So the sunflower seeds that I was reading about is mostly this part is the seed and the nut is what's best for cows and horses. And I read that a lot, especially in the state of Kentucky. They like to use it for all their special horses down there. They love to give them because it's so high in protein. You don't have to give them a lot. If you give them too much, just like anything, it wouldn't be good for them. They are not, the shells are not good for them. It's the fruit part of the sunflower that's the best for them. And what was the second? Oh, and our sunflower is good. Guess what? Sunflower butter would be excellent for dogs. I would not give them the seeds. That would be terrible on their stomachs, especially for little dogs. But any of the sunflower butter, I have not seen it in a treat, but I would guess that somebody uses that sunflower oil and that protein for little dogs. Where do they come from in the plant? They come from the seeds. So what I showed you earlier. And some of these newer sunflowers that I was going to point out earlier, they don't have the seeds developed yet, probably because they were picked before they could be pollinated. So, they were damaged before they could be pollinated. Any more questions, friends? No?
Our drawing had yellow for our sunflower. Do sunflowers only come in yellow? Or
Do sunflowers only come in yellow?
No, sunflowers come in many colors. They come in red and in gold. They come in yellow, lots of yellow, different shades of yellow, orange, gold, even some browns around it. But the traditional sunflower that you will see, and most of the ones that are grown for seeds and to be made into oil, are going to be your traditional yellow sunflowers. They're very colorful. Look for them at your
farms
forest.
grow any of
Rader Family Farms has some beautiful ones that we're growing.
Does Rader Farms grow any of these other colors, and how many different varieties do you grow at your farm?
And do we grow other varieties here, and how many varieties do we grow at Raiders?
I think here at Raiders, we're growing about 15 different varieties. I don't have a lot of them here with me. I do, if you stay right there, Chuck, I will show you the difference. And by variety, I don't know if you guys can hear me. By variety, there's a difference between the stem and the vine, and then we also grow some colorful ones. We have some beautiful purples and oranges out in the field. There's also some that are called multicolored, because you'll see that they have different ones. But look how different even this one is, friends, from the light to the yellow color. Can you see the difference in that? And those are just the ones from here on our farm. But in our special field that Farmer Rader grew for our sunflower days, we have lots of different colors out there. And I just wanted to let you guys know, friends, if you have any more questions, if you can reach out to U of I Extension and ask them. They can forward it on to us, or on your page, on your sunflower page that you made, we left our email, and I would be happy to answer any more sunflower picture or questions, or you can upload and send us the picture of your sunflower that you made for us. If I don't have any other questions, you guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for visiting our farm today. If you haven't signed up for Friday and you want to come visit the part of the farm with us, we're going to meet Farmer Rader, and we're going to go visit the animals, and we'll actually peek into maybe the donuts. So you guys have been amazing. Thank you so much to 4-H U of I Extension, and have a fabulous Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.